time here, and I have been really into doing some gardening lately. We're going to look at 3 things today. Some of my elephant plants, we're going to take them out of the ground because they can't survive the winter. We're going to plant some bulbs with my power planting unit, and I'll show you what I'm growing indoors. It's a little tour of what my fall gardening activities are. What do you think of that?
Okay.
Now, you do some gardening yourself, aren't you?
Vegetables, edibles.
Would you consider anything decorative, or is it totally not of interest to
I
you?
do have some houseplants for keeping the air clean, taking out the formaldehyde and the benzene and all of that.
But no real interest in, say, flowers or anything like that, no?
No, I like looking at yours.
Well, most of the gardening here is done by my father, of course, who's, you know, of avid gardener. So why don't we get started? Some elephant plants here. Elephant plants can't survive the winter outside. The bulbs will freeze and they will die. They are not frost tolerant. And we have not had a hard frost at my house. It's getting to the point where we could have a night that has super low temperatures, like 15 or 18 degrees, and that would destroy these bulbs. What we're going to do is actually store them as big bulbs for the winter.
What does the chair do?
The chair lets me get at the right angle for sitting. So we have to cut off all of the foliage. And I've sterilized this box cutter, and the idea is that you don't want to have any infection lingering in the areas that you're cutting off. So even though it's kind of heartbreaking, you're just going to start cutting right through them. I prefer the knife because it gives a little bit more control. Look at that. Isn't that incredible?
Wow.
Look at the water flowing out of it. Quite literally flowing out of it.
You could survive on this.
So these came from Ocean State Job Lot as bulbs for $5 a bulb. Yeah. And you can see, even at this late season, this leaf is actually brand new. And again, the water pours out of these. So we've got our base to work with here, and now we're going to dig out this bulb. And I've grown these all in pots. I love growing big things in pots because it's very easy to work with to the ground.
You can also move them if they need sun.
That's right. This is a huge plant, Nina.
This is enormous.
Quite a bit of force.
You might need a legit shovel.
These pots were on sale from Lowe's. They were end of season clearance last year, and I bought some more this year, actually. There we go.
So you're willing to get dirty.
Yeah. Then we're going to cut off all of these small roots. There is actually a big bulb in here. And once this is dry, we'll pack it in sawdust for the winter. We're going to store these in the basement. Watch it kind of closely, make sure no disease gets on it. Spray a little fungicide on it in advance. We'll plant it again in the spring and hopefully have another amazing display. So if you have like a plastic bin, just leave the top open. Okay. Put it in sawdust. No water at all. Let's go put these in the compost pile. Let's go right on the compost pile there. So the next thing that I always do in the fall is bulb planting. We're kind of at the end of the bulb season actually already. Most people have already got all their bulbs in the ground. For that reason, bulb sellers are now marking down bulbs substantially.
That's where Junt comes in.
That's where I come in. So what I've done is I have bought 1,000 tulips, Nina, on sale at the end of the season with shipping, $93.
So you can either get a green rock or this.
Or, yeah, I can get a green rock or 1,000 tulips. Which would you rather have, right there?
Both.
It becomes one stalk with 2 leaves and 1 flower. A rainbow of various colors. Triumph tulips is the name of the variety.
If it wasn't the end of the season, how much would it probably run you?
Probably about $250, $260 at the beginning of the season.
Almost 3 times.
This came from Wisconsin, but I'm pretty sure they were grown in Holland originally.
I was about to say.
If they can't get rid of these, they'd actually have to replant them. Otherwise, they just die. So I got this great deal, and now I'm left with the problem of how am I going to plant 1,000 tulips? And honestly, Nina, I don't know. I've got some tools that'll help me get through this faster. This is a power planter, powerplanter.com. And what it is, it's a steel auger that has a bit on the end for drilling holes that you put bulbs in. But you have to use a pretty serious drill with it. This is a Milwaukee Fuel M18 drill. This is a hammer drill. You have to hold on to this one very strongly. Because what happens is this will go down into the ground. You don't know what's down in the ground. It could catch. And if you're not careful, it has done that to my arm before. Most of the time, it's going to go in just fine. Sometimes you'll catch a root, though. See, there's something there. Probably a rock. I'm going to do 10. 7. 10. And Nina, why don't you give one a try here? The point towards the top, just like that. These holes are a little deeper than they look, so you want to get them deep. They want to be 6 to 8 inches down.
We're going to film every single one.
In real time.
This is a real-time Tuesday content.
We just planted 11 bulbs in a few seconds. This would be fine if I was doing 100, because I could easily do 100 in 20 minutes.
Yep.
1,000?
I could also see
That's
where
like 200 minutes.
I know, Zach. That's a long commitment.
if you got lazy and started getting tired with this, I could see where this would hurt your arm.
Yes.
Have one person going along while other people are putting in the bulbs
Ooh,
right
you
behind.
could wear a little apron.
This assumes that all these people are real bought into the idea of...
to your tulips.
Yeah, I thought I might have a planting party, right? Ooh, fun. But it's actually just me putting people to work. Tamp these down, and we will have to give them water. You always want to water freshly planted bulbs, because that gives them the signal to get their going. This piece goes in the barn, this one can go inside. We'll take it in when we go in after.
I'll be back.
And I'll be planting quite a few more of these over the coming week. They're all designed to come up once.
Oh, okay. So they're not like daffodils, but like...
They may come back again if the following winter is light on them. Usually with tulips, it's a one-time thing. There's a type of daffodils called naturalizing daffodils, and those will definitely come back year after year. They tend to be the more plain varieties.
Yeah.
But they'll come back every year forever. They basically can't be killed around our area. I'm doing some more preparation for the spring, but it's all down in the basement. So Nina, here's the indoor gardening effort. This is the first year I've done this, actually. Trying something new. These are Ocean State Job Lot boot trays. They were $1 a piece. Got a few different things growing here. We got a bougainvillea. There's another plant that can't stay outside during the winter. They're from South Africa. It's losing a lot of its leaves, but that's fine. It's getting a little bit of light, and I give it a very little amount of water. Then what I've got here is a bumper crop of coleus that I'm growing from cuttings. I got a whole different bunch of varieties. All I did with these is cut them, soak them in water for a couple of minutes, dipped them in a rooting powder, and then stuck them right in. You have to get one of the little nodes that's growing leaves. When they started, I cut the leaves back. If the plant has leaves that are too big, it's gonna die supporting the leaves.
Right.
So you have to keep the leaf area very small, but these are already growing great. They've been down here for about a month now. And these will all be planted next year, but there's a long time till next year.
I was gonna say
this light is on a riser here. This is a little UV light. It runs 8 hours a day. Once they get maybe about this high, I'll start pinching them back, and then they can be smaller. These are succulents. I've just been getting into succulents. These are houseplants. Been actually a huge growth in using them for temporary outdoor use as annuals, which is kind of ridiculous to me, to grow a beautiful jade plant or something and then let it frost over and just die. I bought a jade plant at Lowe's for $5, a huge one, but 2 of these fell off, and they will actually root if you just put them in soil. This is a special succulent soil that will drain very quickly, and this is already doing great. It's got some great roots there. This is a variety called I think Summer Harvest, and if it's cold enough, it'll actually go brilliant yellows and reds. And then I've got a few other ones here that are kind of an interesting story. So I was at Home Depot, and they were sweeping up the things that fall off the plants. And cactuses are famous for the fact that if you just take a piece and put it in soil, you'll get the plant. So I just picked up a bunch of the pieces.
I love this story.
And left. This is the most recent one. This is a little...
It looks like the beginning of Audrey, too.
I just put this in soil yesterday. You let it dry out to make the end scab over first, and then you put it in soil. This one's a little older. There's 2 varieties here. This is some kind of donkey in the name. I don't know what it is. And then this little one, too.
Is it a burrow tail cacti?
It might be a burrow tail. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Thank you, Frankie. I've also got over here. These are doing great. They're already forming roots. See, I'm having a little bit of a mushroom problem, Nina.
Mushrooms.
Yeah, well, it is very moist down here. It's not hot either, which is perfect conditions for growing little mushrooms, but it doesn't really seem to mind. New Guinea impatiens, and this is a true experiment, Nina. They're much harder to propagate with cuttings. You can see there's still a few empty pots from ones that were dead there. And these will grow beautiful purple flowers if they survive. Right now they're looking okay, but I'm not 100% sure if they're going to make it.
If you submitted to a 5th grade science fair, you could blow a bunch of 10-year-olds out of the water.
I bet I could. I've got one more project that I just started up. I'm actually trying to grow some hostas from seed. You know, when you go to that Indian restaurant, there happened to be a hosta there, and there was a ton of seed pods on it, and so I just snipped them off and took them. And what I've done is I put a few in a bag with a little bit of water and a tiny bit of hydrogen peroxide, and then put them face down on a little heating mat. And hopefully within 2 weeks, we'll start to see some germination, and then I can move them into very small planting containers, and we might have some hostas. There we have it, Nina. Some preparations for the garden. We'll have to come back in the spring, and you'll see those 1,000 tulips, provided I get them in the ground and don't totally waste $90.
National Educational Television presents NET Playhouse,